Family dynamics are complex, particularly when it comes to sibling relationships. As we grow older, our relationships with our brothers and sisters evolve, shaped by a combination of shared history, personal growth, and the challenges of adulthood. One of the most difficult aspects of sibling relationships is finding the right balance between offering support and respecting boundaries. Many of us have experienced moments where we felt the urge to step in and fix a situation, especially when we perceive that our siblings are struggling. However, while our intentions may be good, intervening in their lives often leads to unintended consequences. In this discussion, we'll explore some of the most important aspects of maintaining a healthy and respectful relationship with your siblings. From understanding emotional boundaries to offering support without taking over, these insights can help you navigate family dynamics with greater wisdom and care. It's crucial to understand the delicate balance of support, boundaries, and autonomy when it comes to dealing with family matters, as this can significantly impact the quality of your relationships, not just with your siblings, but with the entire family. The importance of respecting emotional autonomy. The danger of rushing to forgiveness. One of the most common mistakes we make when supporting our siblings during difficult times is trying to rush them into forgiveness. While it's natural to want to resolve conflict quickly and ease the emotional burden of those we love, urging someone to forgive before they're ready can often do more harm than good. Siblings, like anyone else, need the time and space to process their emotions. Emotional recovery doesn't follow a strict timeline, and forgiveness is not something that can be externally imposed. It's important to remember that forgiveness is a personal journey. When you ask someone to forgive, you're essentially asking them to overlook their hurt in favor of moving forward. While this might seem like a helpful suggestion, it often disregards the depth of their pain. Forgiveness should come naturally and on the person's terms, not because they feel pressured by external forces, no matter how well-meaning those forces may be. The emotional scars that come from betrayal, misunderstanding, or family disputes are complex and multifaceted. They often carry layers of hurt that need time to unravel. Forcing someone into forgiveness too soon can feel like an emotional violation, preventing them from fully experiencing their feelings and finding their own path to healing. What may feel like an encouragement to move forward can instead feel like an imposition. 2. The importance of sitting with their pain. When a sibling is in emotional pain, the most supportive thing you can do is not to solve their problems or rush to fix things, but to simply be there for them. Emotional healing requires space to feel the weight of the pain without interference. Sometimes the best way to offer support is to sit with them in their sadness, anger, or frustration, offering a listening ear and a compassionate heart. You may not have all the answers, and that's okay. Your role is to provide unwavering support by acknowledging their feelings and giving them the freedom to process their emotions on their own terms. Let them know that their pain is valid and that they don't need to hurry through it. This approach nurtures trust and creates a sense of emotional safety where your sibling feels heard and understood. In those moments, rather than offering advice or judgment, let your presence do the talking. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Simply being there, physically and emotionally, allows your sibling the space to come to terms with their emotions and decide when they are ready to move forward. The challenges of intervening in family matters. 3. Respecting boundaries in family conflicts. Family conflicts are often more complicated than they seem at first glance. Sibling relationships in particular can be challenging because they are deeply intertwined with shared memories, family history, and a complex web of emotions. When family members clash, especially over long-standing issues, it's tempting to jump in and try to fix things. However, stepping into these matters without understanding the full picture can often make the situation worse. Each family has its own unique dynamics and unspoken rules. These dynamics can be influenced by things like childhood roles, inherited patterns of behavior, and even external pressures like finances or health problems. What may seem like a simple issue to you may be layered with unresolved emotions and decades of family history that you are unaware of. For example, imagine a disagreement between two siblings that seems trivial on the surface, but beneath it lies a complex issue about favoritism, childhood rivalry, or unspoken resentment. If you jump into the middle of the situation with your own perspective and solutions, you might inadvertently exacerbate the problem, making it harder for the siblings to resolve it themselves. This is why it's crucial to approach family conflicts with caution. Instead of trying to fix things, the best approach is often to allow your siblings to work through the issue on their own, while offering support from the sidelines. Offering advice or attempting to mediate may be seen as an intrusion, especially if you aren't fully aware of the emotional intricacies at play. 4. The importance of communication. Effective communication is key to resolving family conflicts, but it's important to remember that not all family members are equipped to express themselves openly. In some families, there are unspoken rules about what can and cannot be discussed. These patterns can make it difficult to navigate sensitive issues and create barriers to resolution. If you want to help your siblings work through a conflict, encourage open and honest communication, but be sure to do so in a way that respects their boundaries. Avoid pushing them to talk before they're ready, and be mindful of how you approach sensitive topics. Active listening is essential here. Allow your siblings to express their thoughts and feelings without judgment or interruption. This helps to foster an environment where everyone feels heard and understood, and it paves the way for healing. The role of empathy and support in sibling relationships. 5. Offering support. Without taking over as siblings, it's natural to want to protect and help one another, especially in times of distress. However, the key to maintaining a healthy relationship is finding the balance between offering support and taking over. Sometimes, our desire to help can turn into an impulse to take control, and when that happens, we risk overstepping boundaries and infringing on our siblings' autonomy. Offering support without taking over means recognizing that your sibling is fully capable of managing their own life, even if they need help along the way. This can be difficult, especially if you feel that they are struggling or making decisions you don't agree with. However, it's important to remember that they are adults who have the right to make their own choices, even if those choices don't align with your vision of what's best for them. Instead of offering unsolicited advice or trying to fix their problems, focus on being a compassionate listener. When they ask for help, offer your support in a way that empowers them to take control of the situation. Provide guidance, but always respect their right to make their own decisions. Why sibling relationships are worth the effort. 6. Respecting their life choices. One of the hardest things to accept as siblings is that our loved ones don't always make the same choices we would. Whether it's in their career, relationships, or lifestyle, the decisions your siblings make might not always align with your values or priorities. While it's natural to want to steer them in the direction you think is best, it's crucial to remember that their lives are their own. Respecting your siblings' life choices is one of the most important ways to build trust and maintain a healthy relationship. Everyone is entitled to live their life according to their own beliefs and desires, and as siblings, our role is not to judge or control, but to support and encourage. Even if their choices are different from yours, showing them the same respect and acceptance you would want in return creates a foundation of mutual trust and love. 7. Building a stronger, more respectful bond. The foundation of any strong sibling relationship is mutual respect. Understanding that you cannot and should not control your siblings' emotional journey, choices, or life path helps create a healthier dynamic. By acknowledging their autonomy, providing unconditional support, and respecting their boundaries, you help strengthen the bond between you. These relationships can last a lifetime, but they require patience, understanding, and most importantly, the ability to step back when necessary and simply offer your love and presence. The unseen burden of caregiving, the risks of taking over family duties. As our parents age, we face one of the most profound responsibilities life can offer: caring for them in their later years. This duty, rooted in love, respect, and gratitude, requires not only physical care, but emotional support, patience, and understanding. Yet one of the greatest challenges in fulfilling this responsibility is maintaining balance and fairness among siblings. It's easy for one person to end up shouldering the weight of caregiving alone, while others may step back, leaving the primary caregiver feeling overwhelmed and unsupported. This imbalance can create tension, resentment, and long-lasting issues within the family. It's essential to recognize that caregiving should never fall entirely on one person, as it is a shared responsibility that involves all siblings, regardless of their circumstances. But why does this imbalance happen, and what are the long-term consequences for the family dynamics? Let's explore these questions in greater detail. The growing burden of caregiving. Caring for aging parents is an incredibly demanding task, one that often falls on the shoulders of the eldest or most available sibling. Initially, this responsibility may seem manageable, particularly if the caregiving duties are light and sporadic. However, as time goes on, the needs of elderly parents tend to increase, sometimes exponentially. It might start with simple tasks, such as managing medications or handling small household chores, but eventually it can extend to more intensive duties like helping with mobility, providing constant emotional support, or making complex medical decisions. The physical and emotional toll on the primary caregiver can become exhausting, especially if they are the only one contributing significantly. At first, the choice to take on the role of primary caregiver often stems from a desire to ensure that our parents are well taken care of, or perhaps to shield other siblings from hardship. However, this decision to step in can quickly snowball, creating a pattern where one sibling becomes the sole caretaker while others remain uninvolved. This imbalance can lead to resentment, as the caregiver may begin to feel unappreciated, neglected, and increasingly isolated. The weight of caregiving can begin to feel like a never-ending responsibility, one that feels impossible to navigate alone. Worse still, the sibling or siblings who are not actively involved in caregiving may become complacent, assuming that someone else will always handle the duties. The psychological toll of being the sole caregiver, being the only sibling responsible for caregiving, often results in a significant psychological toll on the caregiver. The overwhelming sense of duty, paired with the exhaustion of providing constant care, can lead to emotional burnout. This can manifest in a variety of ways: feelings of frustration, helplessness, resentment, and even depression. The caregiver's own physical and mental health often deteriorates because of the stress of balancing caregiving with their other responsibilities, such as work, family, or personal needs. A caregiver might find themselves constantly sacrificing their own time and well-being in favor of others, leaving them feeling depleted, drained, and disconnected from their own life. The emotional strain of being solely responsible for a parent's well-being can feel isolating. A caregiver might feel guilty for feeling tired or overwhelmed, as if they are betraying their loved one by experiencing frustration or even anger. These feelings of isolation are compounded by a lack of support from siblings who have not taken on an equal share of the burden. Over time, the caregiver may begin to feel like they are being taken for granted, and resentment can build not only toward the siblings who are not helping, but also toward the parent who requires such extensive care. This imbalance can significantly affect the relationship between the caregiver and the parent, as well as between the caregiver and the other family members. It can even lead to the breakdown of family bonds if left unaddressed. The dangers of complacency among siblings. When one sibling assumes the lion's share of caregiving, others might step back, comfortable in the knowledge that someone else is handling the difficult work. This complacency can be damaging, as it fosters an unhealthy dynamic where the caregiver becomes overwhelmed and the non-caregiving siblings remain detached from the reality of the situation. The passive role played by these siblings, whether due to busy lives, emotional distance, or sheer avoidance, only exacerbates the burden placed on the primary caregiver. The consequences of this complacency are far-reaching. The non-caregiver siblings may lose touch with the daily struggles that the primary caregiver faces. They might not understand the emotional and physical toll that caregiving takes on a person. They may assume that the primary caregiver is managing just fine, not realizing that they are running on empty. This lack of awareness can lead to further resentment when the caregiver expresses frustration or asks for help. The complacent siblings, unaccustomed to the reality of caregiving, may feel defensive or dismissive, believing that the caregiver is exaggerating or simply complaining. Moreover, this imbalance in caregiving can also foster a sense of entitlement among the non-caregiving siblings. They may come to expect that someone else will always be there to take on the heavy lifting, leaving them free to live their lives without feeling responsible for their parents' well-being. This creates an unspoken dynamic where the primary caregiver is left to shoulder all the burdens, while the others feel entitled to reap the benefits of having a well-cared-for parent without contributing to the effort. Over time, this sense of entitlement can erode the trust and respect between siblings, leading to conflicts that further complicate family dynamics. The importance of shared responsibility. Caring for aging parents is not a one-person job. It's a responsibility that belongs to all siblings, regardless of their individual circumstances. The goal should be to create a system where everyone contributes in some way, whether through financial support, emotional support, or physical care. Each sibling has unique skills and resources to offer, and by sharing the responsibility, the caregiving burden is distributed more evenly. This also ensures that no single sibling is overwhelmed by the task. One key to fostering shared responsibility is open communication. Siblings need to discuss their expectations and limitations openly, being honest about what they are able and willing to contribute. This may involve having difficult conversations about finances, time commitments, or personal boundaries. However, addressing these issues early on can prevent misunderstandings and resentment later. It's essential for all siblings to understand that caregiving requires a team effort and that every little bit of help counts. Another crucial element of shared responsibility is flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and everyone's situation changes over time. Some siblings may find themselves more available to care for their parents during certain periods, while others may be more capable of providing financial support. The key is to be flexible and willing to adjust as needed. Just because one sibling takes on the primary caregiving role for a while doesn't mean that roles should be permanent. Responsibilities can shift as circumstances change, and it's important for siblings to support each other through these transitions. The harm of overstepping, respecting boundaries. One of the most important lessons in caregiving is understanding when to step back and respect boundaries. Even within families, boundaries are vital to maintaining healthy relationships. Just as each sibling has the right to determine how they contribute to the caregiving process, they also have the right to set personal boundaries. Overstepping these boundaries, whether through unsolicited advice, excessive intervention, or taking on too much of the responsibility, can erode trust and create lasting harm to family dynamics. Respecting boundaries doesn't mean abandoning the responsibility of caregiving. It means acknowledging the autonomy of each family member and recognizing that they have a role to play in the caregiving process that works for them. For example, one sibling might not be able to physically care for a parent due to health issues, but they could be instrumental in managing finances or helping with logistics. Another sibling may be able to visit regularly, but can't take on caregiving tasks. By respecting each other's boundaries and contributions, siblings can create a more harmonious and supportive caregiving environment that benefits everyone. The gift of restraint. Ultimately, the most profound gift one sibling can offer to another in the context of caregiving is restraint. By stepping back, not in indifference but in respect for each other's autonomy, siblings allow each other the space to contribute in their own ways. This approach builds trust and deepens familial bonds, even during the difficult process of caring for aging parents. Restraint doesn't mean withholding help or refusing to contribute. It means understanding that caregiving is a shared responsibility, and each sibling has a role to play. It means resisting the urge to control, solve problems, or fix everything, and instead offering your support in ways that empower others. By doing so, we create a more supportive and sustainable system of care that honors both the parents and the caregivers. The true strength of a family lies not in the ability to take over someone else's duties, but in the collective effort to share the responsibility in a way that respects everyone's needs, boundaries, and contributions. When siblings unite in this effort, it creates an environment of love, respect, and mutual support that enriches not only the caregiving experience, but the family dynamic as a whole. Conclusion: sibling relationships are one of the most profound and meaningful connections we have in life. They are not only built on shared memories and experiences, but also on the respect, trust, and support that we give each other. By avoiding the temptation to intervene, solve problems on their behalf, or push them into decisions they're not ready to make, we can help foster healthier, more fulfilling relationships with our siblings. At the heart of a successful sibling relationship is the ability to offer love and support without overstepping boundaries. By recognizing their emotional autonomy, respecting their decisions, and providing unwavering support, you contribute to a bond that is built on mutual understanding and respect, allowing both you and your siblings to thrive and grow together through life's many challenges.